Can you truly avoid riba in today's economy? The question we hesitate to ask. There is a quiet unease that many people carry but rarely articulate. It surfaces when a salary enters a conventional bank account, when rent is transferred digitally, when headlines speak about interest rate hikes shaping entire nations. In those moments, a subtle question begins to form. Even if I personally avoid taking an interest-based loan, am I still living inside a system built upon riba? And if the structure itself runs on interest, is individual avoidance meaningful, or is it simply symbolic? This question is not loud, but it lingers. It is less about fiqh technicalities and more about conscience. The shift from visible to invisible. In earlier times, riba was visible and direct. A loan was given, an increase was demanded, and the injustice was clear in its simplicity. Today, the lines feel less defined. Interest is no longer just a private transaction between two individuals. It is embedded within monetary policy, corporate financing, national debt, and global trade. Entire economies expand and contract around benchmark rates set by central banks. Because of this, riba feels less like a single act and more like an atmosphere. It surrounds modern financial life in ways that are difficult to isolate. And that is where the confusion begins. Living inside a structure you did not design. Most people did not design the global financial system. They were born into it. Their salaries are processed through it. Their currencies are shaped by it. Even if someone avoids mortgages, credit card interest, and interest-bearing investments, they cannot completely detach from a currency whose value is influenced by interest policy. This realization can create a sense of helplessness. It can feel as though moral responsibility dissolves inside systemic complexity. But Islamic ethics has always recognized a distinction between direct engagement and unavoidable exposure. There is a difference between choosing riba and navigating a world in which it already exists. The boundary of responsibility. Islam does not demand the impossible. It does not hold a person accountable for what lies beyond their capacity. What it does emphasize is conscious choice. You may not control global banking architecture, but you control whether you sign an interest-based loan contract. You may not influence monetary policy, but you decide how you structure your investments and liabilities. Ethical living, in this sense, is not about achieving total purity within a flawed system. It is about defining your boundary and honoring it consistently. The system may be saturated with interest, but your personal transactions still carry moral weight. Between idealism and realism. Some respond to this tension with rigid idealism, imagining complete withdrawal from modern finance. Others respond with resignation, assuming avoidance is futile. But perhaps the path is neither extreme. Perhaps it lies in deliberate navigation. Avoid what you clearly can. Seek alternatives when they exist. Minimize involvement where possible. And where systemic exposure remains unavoidable, recognize the difference between necessity and preference. The believer's task is not to escape history, but to move through it with awareness. Awareness over perfection. So can you truly avoid riba in today's economy? Perhaps the more honest answer is that you cannot eliminate every indirect trace of it, but you can refuse to normalize it in your own decisions. You can resist where you have agency. You can remain conscious rather than passive. And that consciousness matters. Because Islamic finance was never only about contracts and calculations. It was about cultivating a moral posture in a world that constantly pulls toward convenience. In an interest-driven system, awareness itself becomes an act of resistance. And that may be where true avoidance begins. The quiet responsibility. Perhaps the goal was never to escape the system entirely. Perhaps the goal was to remain awake within it. We live in an economy shaped by forces larger than any one individual, yet our personal decisions still carry meaning. Avoiding riba today may not look like isolation from the modern world. It may look like careful navigation through it. It may look like pausing before signing, questioning before investing, reflecting before normalizing what feels convenient. Perfection is not what is being asked of us. Awareness is. Intention is. Effort within capacity is. And maybe that is where ethical finance truly begins. not in grand structural revolutions, but in quiet personal boundaries that we refuse to compromise. If this reflection helped you think more clearly about your place within today's economy, consider subscribing to Islamic Finance Unboxed. These conversations are not about quick answers. They are about building deeper understanding, one question at a time. Because sometimes the most important financial decision is the one made in private, with your conscience fully present.